Well, it's Plymouth Argyle who have the dubious honour of playing in the most important league fixture in Carlisle United history. United have got to win and then hope that Scarborough don't beat Peterborough United.
How's it going, YouTube? I'm Craig and welcome to this first in a series of videos where we look at the most dramatic moments in football. We'll be looking at the most exciting and emotional moments that fans love, the kind of moments that give you goosebumps even as a neutral. So if you do enjoy today's video, then please leave a like and press the subscribe button, and also hit the bell notification so that you will be informed when future videos and footy content are uploaded. So we will start this series with arguably the greatest of great escapes from the most unlikeliest of heroes, taking us back to the final day of the 1998-99 season in England's fourth tier, and that goal from Jimmy Glass for Carlisle United that ensured their status as a Football League club. It's April 1999 in England's fourth tier, and with just 3 games to go until the end of the season, one of 3 teams could end up finishing bottom of the division and relegated from the Football League: Carlisle United, Hartlepool United and Scarborough. Carlisle were managed by a young Nigel Pearson in his first managerial role. He had taken over as manager in December from Michael Knighton, Carlisle's unpopular chairman who had been running first team affairs for the previous 18 months. This was the same Knighton who, of course, in August 1989 made a takeover bid for Man United. He famously appeared on the Old Trafford pitch juggling a football in a full Man U kit, much to the bemusement of Sir Alex Ferguson and the Old Trafford faithful. However, Knighton was unable to complete the takeover as he lacked the funds to buy the club by himself, without any wealthy backers. So several years later he would go on to buy Carlisle United instead. In April of the 1998-99 season, Knighton in his wisdom had decided to sell Carlisle's only goalkeeper, Tony Craig, on deadline day and bring in Richard Knight on loan. So when inevitably Knights was recalled by Derby, Carlisle had to beg the Football League for an emergency loan. The Football League gave special dispensation for Carlisle to bring in another keeper after the April transfer deadline. This was in the days before transfer windows and all the excitement that they bring. So the Football League's decision was quite controversial at the time, with fellow strugglers Hartlepool protesting but to no avail. This farcical situation of course went down well with the Carlisle fans, and as you can imagine, Nigel Pearson.
We were in a difficult situation as a club. I mean, when your only fit goalkeeper is sold, Tony Craig to Blackpool, clearly that's going to have a difficult knock-on effect with how things look around the football club.
Carlisle decided to bring in Jimmy Glass on loan from Swindon Town. He'd had a decent career up to that point, having made 100 appearances for Bournemouth prior to his move to Swindon. However, he'd struggled to make his way into the Swindon team for that season and had hardly come to Carlisle in the greatest of form, having conceded 14 goals in his 3 appearances that season behind a poor Swindon Town defence.
I got a call, it was a Tuesday, I think it was a Tuesday morning, about 3 weeks left before the end of the season. Jimmy Quinn called me into his office and said, Carlisle are coming on loan for you. So obviously my first comment is, well, the deadline's gone. And he went, well, they've got special dispensation to sign you. Do you want to play? I went, yes.
Scarborough were one of the oldest football clubs in England, formed in 1879. They came into the Football League under Neil Warnock when his team became champions of the conference in 1987. They were automatically promoted into the Football League, the first club to accomplish promotion by this route. 12 seasons later and Scarborough are at the foot of the table, 3 points behind Carlisle, but with a game in hand. They had kept their Football League chances alive by smashing Carlisle 3-0 earlier in April. Hartlepool, although 5 points clear, could still be sucked in, especially if Carlisle beat them in one of their remaining games. Glass didn't have the best of debuts either, having been partly at fault for one of the goals in a 3-3 thriller against Darlington, although he had been left exposed time and time again by the Carlisle defence. He would later go on to keep a clean sheet in a 0-0 classic six-pointer against fellow strugglers Hartlepool, a result which ensured the Monkey Hangers Football League survival. Both these were vital points for the Cumbrians as they went into the last round of games on 46 points, just above Scarborough. Scarborough though had a game in hand against Plymouth which they won emphatically 3-0, making it back-to-back wins for the Cod Army.
We're in the situation we're in. I'm in charge and, the buck stops with me, but I'll be doing as much as I can to make sure that isn't the case come Saturday night.
That win lifted Scarborough above Carlisle with just 1 point separating the two teams going into the final games of the season. Carlisle were in deep water, and there was a nervous edge about Brunton Park at the time, especially with the players, many of whom were local lads, feeling the pressure of trying to ensure their team's 70-year Football League status. They also went into the final game in the worst form of the bottom three, managing just 1 win in their last 10 games, picking up just 8 points from a possible 30. True relegation form. Carlisle had to win and hoped that Scarborough could only manage a draw. The odds looked stacked against the Cumbrians as the stage was set for their 7,500 fans at Brunton Park.
I suppose it wasn't life or death to me like it was for some of the boys, the local boys. Richard Procrast, Tony Hopper, people like that grew up at the club and loved the club so much. For them it must have been horrific. But for me, I just wanted to do a good job, and that was my plan from the start, just do as best as I could.
Carlisle captain David Brightwell sang the praises of Nigel Pearson's approach leading up to the game. Nigel was brilliant, there was no pressure on us, we had a laugh in training, Glassy was running around like an idiot, like we were about to gain promotion.
And he says, right, you can do what you want. He says, if you want a pint now, you can have a pint. If you want a whiskey, you can have 10 if you want. He says, whatever you think will help you today and will relax you or whatever, just do it. And all the lads are looking at each other, thinking, I don't want to be the first to do this.
Famously, everyone knows a bottle of brandy was being passed around to, steady some nerves.
Did that really happen?
It did actually really happen, yeah.
I don't remember that, but maybe. But that's not to say I didn't do it. I mean, yeah, there's certainly a bottle of brandy in there.
Maybe Pearson's unorthodox preparation was inspired by Brian Clough, who famously in 1979, prior to their League Cup final win against Southampton, insisted that all his players drink in the bar the night before, whether they wanted to or not. With Martin O'Neill recalling, he then wouldn't let us go to bed. We finally left the bar at 1:30 a.m, John Robertson and I literally carrying Tony Woodcock upstairs. But would this gamble pay off for Pearson?
Coming forward again into the box, there's a chance on here.
Everybody in that ground thought that Carlisle were about to be relegated, myself included.
Year-old McCall and Scarborough 0, Peterborough United 1. That's a goal. Scarborough 0.
It's going round the ground. You can see the news is getting through. The news is getting through. That will give Carlisle United a lift.
It's gone. Scarborough 0, Peterborough United 1.
And there's been a goal at the McCain Stadium.
With just 3 minutes to go to half-time, Darren Roberts has equalised for Scarborough.
The mood soon changed though at Brunton Park with news of Scarborough's equaliser. Plymouth defender Paul Gibbs broke his leg and the match was delayed, meaning it was several minutes behind Scarborough's. This would have profound consequences for the game and the climax that was to follow.
Carlisle 0, Plymouth 1. Lee Phillips has scored for Plymouth. Could be the last rites as far as the Football League is concerned for Carlisle.
Disaster then strikes for Carlisle in the second half. Lee Phillips picks up the ball deep in his own half and Carlisle continue to just back off until he finds space to take a shot and score a great goal.
Chances his arm and it's gone in. That is disaster.
The pressure was starting to tell on the Carlisle players. Things started to get tense and tempers started to boil over. Luckily, this did not result in any red cards for Carlisle.
It's careful, this could be a red card.
Here at Brunton Park, but the majority of those there will have been celebrating a Carlisle equaliser. Carlisle 1, Plymouth 1. Light at the end of the tunnel.
Light at the end of the tunnel indeed, in the form of an unlikely goal from another unlikely hero. The goal that is described as the forgotten goal from centre-back and captain David Brightwell.
Oh, it's gone in! It's the equaliser! And it's David Brightwell. Now then, met it well, it bounced just in front of Dungy, and that's what beat the keeper. That'll give the crowd a lift as well.
Carlisle now will be knighted.
Give him a knighted, give him the OBE, the NBA.
Scores one each. Plymouth had scored. We'd equalised through David Brightwell. Then this 4 minutes comes up.
4 minutes to save 70 years of league football.
Fourth official, he's walked out with his pad and his thing, and he's put 4 minutes up. So I've just flicked the mic up. I said it's all finished at Scarborough. It's finished Scarborough 1, Peterborough 1. Carlisle, we've got 4 minutes to save our football club. And with that, it was just like basically lighting a firework.
Right, well,
The final score has been given out over there. We got
4 minutes. Oh, what a big 4 minutes.
What a big 4 minutes this is. Well, certainly.
Listen to that crowd. This is what we need.
They know now what must happen in the next 4 minutes. The man on the tannoy is getting very, very excited. He's given out the latest score. The crowd have gone wild. All we need is a goal.
I realised that it was now in Carlisle's hands, and if they scored a goal, they were saved. If they didn't, then they were relegated.
Full time at the McCain Stadium. Scarborough 1, Peterborough 1. Carlisle have to score in the remaining seconds if they're to survive. At the moment, it's 1 apiece at Brunton Park, and that would mean Carlisle are out of the league. These are the scenes at Scarborough. They think it's all over. Those words have been said before.
With 4 minutes to save your football club. The crowd were passionate, they were really getting behind them. United, you know, roaring on.
This is going to be a momentous goal.
Corner kick on the right-hand side for Carlisle United.
I just had this feeling where I thought, well, I've got to go up for this. I looked over at Nigel Pearson and he waved me up, and it was like that. Well, you might as well, son.
And up goes Jimmy Glass. Carlisle United goalkeeper Jimmy Glass. Everybody, there is not one player in the Carlisle United half. The corner kick comes in. Oh, the goalkeeper's pass. Jimmy Glass has scored. Jimmy Glass, the goalkeeper, has scored a goal for Carlisle United. Oh, and
Jimmy Glass, get up there. You might as well, for heaven's sake.
I just headed for the 6-yard box. That's where the action happened.
Oh, it's something like Jimmy Glass! The goalkeeper has done it! Jimmy Glass!
And as soon as I turned, I just got absolutely poleaxed.
But there's like 3,000 supporters on top of Jimmy Glass. Even the referee gets jumped.
It suddenly got scary.
Derby 0, Coventry 0. Dunfermline 1, Celtic 2. And I hope this is accurate news for Carlisle fans' sake. Carlisle have scored in the last minute of their game against Plymouth. Unconfirmed. We hear that Jimmy Glass, the goalkeeper, has scored for Carlisle. He's on loan there. Now, if this is the case, and we're waiting for confirmation, it will be the most staggering story of the day.
All bedlam erupts, people from all sides of the ground rushing onto the pitch and celebrating.
There's a massive pitch invasion. I got kicked in the face, or knee in the face, I think. I had a nosebleed. It was a fantastic moment for everybody that was in the ground, and hence why we're still talking about it 20 years later.
Yes, Jimmy Glass's goal in the dying seconds sealed the win for Carlisle and their Football League status.
Death and earned Carlisle the 3 points they needed to stay in the Football League 71 years after they first entered the professional game. It had been the closest of shaves, and the faithful could hardly believe their eyes.
And then a pitch invasion again, but this time a proper pitch invasion. Everyone's trying to get onto the pitch, and I'm about the furthest away than any other player from the tunnel. People are cuddling me and kissing me, and then they hoist me up on their shoulders. They're pulling at my boots, pulling at my gloves.
That moment was the best point in my life. Being carried off the football pitch by 7,500 happy, screaming fans.
And that's the reason why I have to say it was a good finish as well. League football has been preserved at Brunton Park. The pride of Cumbria will be playing in the Nationwide League next season.
carried off like a king. Truly, Jimmy Glass's goal has to be one of the most dramatic moments in football.
I'm glad I can see it in red and black because I wouldn't have believed it possible. It's full time at Brunton Park. Jimmy Glass, the goalkeeper's goal in the 90th minute. And this is what it means at the McCain Stadium. They can't believe it. 12 years in that division and they're out by courtesy of a last-minute goal at Brunton Park. They're out and they look as if they know it.
Carlisle's survival, though, would mean disastrous consequences for Scarborough. The following season, they would finish 4th in the conference, failing to bounce back straight into the Football League. And the next few seasons, they would finish around mid-table without making any serious promotion challenge. In 2006, they were then relegated to the Conference North and would start that season with a 12-point deduction for going into administration. By June the 20th, after failing to sell their ground to a developer, which would have wiped out their debts and paid for a new ground, Scarborough FC were wound up in the High Court with debts of £2.5 million and ceased to exist as a football club. The McCain Stadium would not see another football match again, sadly, and would eventually be demolished in 2011. A Lidl supermarket was built on the site in 2017. The Theatre of Chips was no more. However, the winding up of the football club led to the formation of a Phoenix Club by the Sea Dog Supporters Trust. So on the 25th of June 2007, Scarborough Athletic were formed. They would climb the local county leagues and eventually, in the 2017-18 season, they would be promoted to the Northern Premier League, England's 7th tier and just 3 promotions away from the Football League. As for Nigel Pearson, despite keeping Carlisle up, his contract was not renewed by Michael Knighton. Knighton also refused to sign Jimmy Glass, stating that his wage demands were too high. However, Jimmy Glass stated that he just asked to match what was on his 3-year contract at Swindon, which still would not have made him the top earner at the club. He said, "I don't think I was being unreasonable considering I'd just saved them a few bob, but Michael Knighton was making out that I wanted a fortune." Sadly, Jimmy's career would spiral. After falling out of favour with Swindon manager Jimmy Quinn, he asked to be released from his contract. He would go on to have short spells with Cambridge, Brentford and Oxford, before falling into non-league with several spells at different clubs, before leaving the sport completely and retiring at the age of just 27, only 2 years after scoring his famous goal for Carlisle. Once Jimmy Glass had to start working in the real world, a gambling problem which had plagued him throughout his career had raised its ugly head. He would say, "I wasn't someone who was in and out of the bookies. I was a binge gambler when life was tough. I had a wife and young family and a taxi business. I never earned big money in football, so things were hard. 1 minute you are a goal-scoring keeper and the next you are picking up fares for £4 at 3 a.m. and someone is being sick in your taxi. Mentally, I did struggle for a long time." It was a big fall from grace for Jimmy, after almost celebrity stardom from his goal. However, he has now found his way back into football and was brought in as a player liaison officer at Bournemouth by his former teammate Eddie Howe. "I've come to terms with my frailties, the things I should have done better, and being involved with Bournemouth has reignited my passion for the game. I enjoy being part of something successful. I was never part of anything successful as a player." Jimmy, of course, is still loved at Carlisle, and I'd imagine his money would be no good in any bar in the town. He's even had a beer named after him, as well as a bar in Ibiza of all places. So his legacy has touched people from around the world, and his story will live on forever in football folklore.
It was just a great moment. You can't get sick of talking about great moments. You know, it brings smiles to people's faces. It's what life's about. It's about happiness. So if people want to talk to me about it, I'm more than happy to keep talking.
Yes, Jimmy said it best there. A great moment and one of the most dramatic moments in football. That is what football is all about. Thank you for watching and take care.